Good morning, my dear students. This is Next Level Biology, Sriram, MSc AP Set. Now I am discussing about my topic is structure of heart. This topic is very important for Neet level. Heart is a mesodermal in origin. In question they ask like this: heart is derived from A. ectoderm, B. endoderm, C. mesoderm, D. none of the above, like that. Answer is mesoderm. Size of the heart is a clenched fist. This is our clenched fist. This is the open palm. This is the clenched fist. So size of the heart is a clenched fist. Location in a mediastinum cavity, located in mediastinum cavity. There is a cavity present in the thoracic region. That cavity is said to be as mediastinum cavity. This is our sternum. This is our vertebral column. There is the lungs are there in thoracic region. Near the left lung, this cavity is majorly a mediastinum cavity. That cavity which is present here in the thoracic region. There towards the left side, heart is present. This is our left lung. This is our right lung. Here there is the heart. There is the notch. Within the notch of the at left side of the lung, there is the heart. Heart is having two ends. This end is said to be as a basal end of the heart. This end is said to be as apical end of the heart. Apical. So heart is present like this towards the left side. This is the basal portion of the heart. This is the apical portion of the heart. Again I am saying, heart is located in the mediastinum cavity. Size of the heart is clenched fist. Heart is derived from the germinal layer is said to be as mesoderm. Heart is having two ends. They are basal end and apical end. Apical end facing toward the left side. Basal end is facing toward the right. Then go for the real outer structure. What are the outer layers which are covers the heart is important. This is our heart. This is our heart. This heart is covered with a membrane. This is the outer membrane. This is the outer fibrous pericardium. This is the outer fibrous pericardium. Outer fibrous pericardium. This is a serous pericardium. This is the serous pericardium. Serous pericardium is a peritoneal membranes. This is a outer serous pericardium. This is the outer inner serous pericardium. This is a inner serous pericardium. Inner serous pericardium. I am saying the outermost layer is said to be the fibrous pericardium. There is the two serous membranes are there. They are the peritoneal membranes. This is the outer inner serous pericardium. This is the inner serous pericardium. In between these outer inner serous pericardium and inner serous pericardium, there is the pericardial space. This is the pericardial space. This pericardial space is filled with pericardial fluid. Is having pericardial fluid which prevents the external sacs. It is protect the heart from external sacs. Question asked like this in the Neet. Where pericardial space is present? A. Between outer fibrous pericardium and outer inner serous pericardium. B. In between outer inner serous pericardium and inner serous pericardium. C. In between inner serous pericardium and epicardium of the heart. D. None of the above, like this they ask. Answer is in between outer inner serous pericardium and inner serous pericardium there is the pericardial fluid. In heart there is the three layers are there. They are epicardium. Beneath that they are having myocardium. Beneath that they are endocardium. Sometimes they ask like this. Arrange the following sequentially, the layers from outer margin to inner margin like this. Outer fibrous pericardium, outer inner serous pericardium, pericardial space, inner serous pericardium, epicardium, myocardium and endocardium. Epicardium, myocardium, endocardium are the properties of heart. Serous pericardium and these serous pericardial membranes and fibrous pericardial membranes, they are the external coverings of the heart. Go for the external structures of the heart. Heart is four-chambered. There is a two-chambered heart seen in the fishes. There is a three-chambered heart seen in the amphibians. There is a incompletely divided ventricle. Three-chambered heart seen in the reptiles. Four-chambered heart is seen in the birds and mammals. That four chambers are, there is a two atrias. There is the two atrias and two ventricles. They are having two atrias. This is a left atrium. This is a left atrium. This is a right atrium. This is a right ventricle. This is a right ventricle. This is a left ventricle. Observe here, ventricles are located at apex portion, whereas atrias are located the basal portion. There is a apical side ventricles. Ventricles are thick-walled. Compared to that, atrias, these are the thick-walled, these are the thin-walled. What is the reason that ventricles are having thickness compared to that atrias means it somewhat it pumps the blood. For pumping of the blood, the walls are becomes thick. You observe in the diagram, right atrium is the big chamber, left atrium is comparatively the small chamber. Right ventricle is a small chamber, whereas left ventricle is a big one. These are the upper chambers are atrias, one is the big, one is the small. Here this one is the small and this one is the big. In between these two atrias, there is a septum. That septum is said to be as interatrial septum. Interatrial septum. Interatrial septum is the fibrous septum. It is muscular septum. Interatrial septum is muscular septum. It is not the fibrous, it is the muscular. In between the two ventricles, there is the septum. That septum is said to be as interventricular septum. The interventricular septum. Interventricular septum is also muscular septum. In between atrias and ventricles, there is the septum, that is the atrioventricular septum. The septum is a atrioventricular septum. Atrioventricular septum is the fibrous septum. Interatrial septum is muscular. Interventricular septum is also muscular. But atrioventricular septum is the fibrous, very, very important. Among the following, which septum is fibrous? They ask like this. A. Interatrial septum. B. Interventricular septum. C. Atrioventricular septum. So, atrioventricular septum is the fibrous septum. Then go for the valves. Here, in between right atrium and right atrium and right ventricle, in between right atrium and right ventricle, there is the valve is called tricuspid valve, having three cusps. This valve is the tricuspid valve. There is the mitral valve or bicuspid valve is present between, that valve is said to be as mitral valve. Mitral valve is also called it as that bicuspid valve. It is having two cusps. It is located in between that is left atrium to, that is located in between left atrium to left ventricle. There is a semilunar valves are there. They are the semilunar valves. They are the semilunar valves are present here. These valves are said to be as aortic valve and pulmonary valve. One valve is said to be as that pulmonary valve. These are the semilunar valves. There are the two semilunar valves. One is a pulmonary valve. Another one is the aortic valve. Observe here, there is the tricuspid valve present between right atrium to right ventricle having three cusps. There is the mitral valve or bicuspid valve present in between the left atrium to that left ventricle. There is that semilunar valves, they said to be as pulmonary valve and aortic valve, are present on the fibrous septum. There is a rudimentary valve is there. That rudimentary valve is Eustachian valve. There is the Eustachian valve. It is the rudimentary valve. There is one more valve is there. That valve is a Tibaceous valve. There is a Tibaceous valve. Tibaceous valve located in the right atrium. Rudimentary Eustachian valve located at right atrium. Tricuspid, bicuspid and semilunar valves are located on the fibrous septum. Next go for a recap up to that. There is that septum, muscular septum. In between these two, that is the interatrial septum. In between the ventricles, muscular. Interventricular septum. In between atrias and ventricle, atrioventricular septum. There is the tricuspid valve, there is the bicuspid valve. These are the aortic valve and pulmonary valve and aortic valve. There is the Eustachian valve. That is the Eustachian valve and the Tibaceous valve, where the coronary sinus get be opened. Later I have discussed. Next go for nodes. There is two nodes are there. It is useful for conducting action potentials. They are SCA node sinoatrial node. Sinoatrial node. It is act as the pacemaker, made up of specialized cardiomyocytes. Specialized cardiomyocytes. There is another node is AV node. AV node said to be as atrioventricular node. For conducting the action potential, there is a route. Action potential conducting route is there. Action potential conducting route, very very important for Neet. Action potential conducting route, the diagram. This is a SA node. This is I am using blue color here. This is the AV node. It is the relay point. AV node. There is I am using red color, a bundle of His. There is the bundle of His. It is the bundle of His. They having two bundle branches. I am using blue color. This is the right bundle branch. This is the left bundle branch. Bundle branches are two. They are light and left bundle branches. And there is a Purkinje fibers. There are the Purkinje fibers. These green colored are said to be the Purkinje fibers. In Neet, ask questions like this. Action potential conducting route. Sequential order is SA node. From SA node to AV node. From AV node to bundle of His. From bundle of His to bundle branches. From bundle branches to Purkinje fibers. From Purkinje fibers to ventricles. Very very important for Neet. Moment of action potential starts at SA node. After SA node they reach to AV node. From AV node to reach to bundle of His. Bundle of His to bundle branches. How many bundle branches are there? Two bundle branches. Right and left bundle branches. And Purkinje fibers to ventricles. This is the action potential conducting system. Very very important for Neet concern. Then go for another thing. This is our heart. Here, this is the fibrous septum. This is the tricuspid valve. This is the bicuspid valve. This is the pulmonary valve, semilunar valves. This is the aortic valve. Aortic valve. From pulmonary valve here, observed, there is a pulmonary aorta. There is the pulmonary aorta. From pulmonary aorta, there is a lungs are there here. These are the lungs. These are our lungs. They are our lungs. So here there are pulmonary aortas, pulmonary arteries. From there is a pulmonary veins. Having pulmonary veins. There is 4 pulmonary veins are there. There is 4 pulmonary veins which are carrying oxygenated blood. These 4 pulmonary veins. Number of pulmonary veins are 4. These pulmonary veins which are dumping pure blood towards the left atrium. Here this is the inferior vena cava. These are the inferior vena cava. And these are the superior vena cavas. These are the superior vena cavas. There is the two superior vena cavas are there. These two superior vena cavas and inferior vena cava dumps impure blood into the right atrium. Number of caval veins are 3. Number of caval veins are 3. This is a systemic aorta which carrying pure blood. This is a systemic aorta which carrying pure blood. There is two coronary arteries. The coronary system. There is the two coronary arteries which are taking pure blood toward the heart. These coronary arteries later converted into 4 coronary veins. There is that 4 coronary veins. 4 coronary veins are converted into coronary sinus and open at Tibiaceous valve. This is the coronary system. There is the 2 coronary veins which are the branches of systemic aorta which supplies blood to the heart. Where the coronary sinus is opened, there is the valve is called Tibiaceous valve. Again I am saying, there are the 3 caval veins. These caval veins are dumps impure blood which is collected different parts of the body. There is 4 pulmonary veins which are dumping pure blood towards that ventricle, left ventricle, that is the left atrium. There is the coronary arteries, the branches of systemic aorta, they sends blood to the heart. And in between that 2 atria during embryonic development, there is the pore. That pore is said to be as foramen ovale. After lung becomes functional, this becomes closed. Converted into fossa ovalis. Foramen ovale is converted into fossa ovalis when lung becomes functional. So here one more thing is very, very important. There is during embryonic development, blood is directed towards right atrium to left atrium through foramen ovale. When lung becomes functional, they becomes closed. That is called fossa ovalis. So I think toward that structure of heart, it is benefit to you to listen. Some very, very important questions I am enlightening during my teaching. If you are benefited, like my channel, like my lesson, please subscribe my channel. Thank you, all the best. Very good.